Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. I'm Jacqueline and this is Low Carblish, the channel where we take our favorite high carb foods and make low carb versions of them to try to control type 2 diabetes and reverse type 2 diabetes. So, I'm so glad to be back with you guys. I know y'all must feel like I abandoned you totally. I had gone to North Carolina for my aunt's funeral, and I was in North Carolina for 8 days. And I came back and I didn't feel too great the day that I got back. And the next day I went to get my hair done and I was like feeling tightness in my chest and stuff. And when she was doing my hair, I was sitting under the dryer, I was breathing that kind of bleach stuff in. And I woke up the next day and I couldn't hardly breathe and I was really feeling bad, had a temperature. I was kind of scared I had COVID again. So I called Jenny and asked her if she would drop a COVID test off for me on the porch, which she did, and it was negative. So then I called my doctor and went to the doctor, and turns out I just had good old American bronchitis. So I was really struggling. Every day I was having a really hard time breathing and coughing and all of that stuff. My ribs were getting sore and all of that, so I'm so sorry that I wasn't here, but I just didn't feel good, y'all. And if y'all have made comments or sent me emails or something, I'm going to check those this afternoon when I get through with this video, and I promise I'll get back to y'all within the next day or two about that. And again, I just apologize for being gone, but I just did not feel well. So, but today I'm feeling much better, and hopefully in the next couple of days I'll be back to 100%. So, thank you for listening to all of that. So, what we're going to be making today is what I previewed to y'all about 3 weeks ago, and I was like, can y'all guess? And some of the guesses you made were really good, and it made me think about things too. But none of you guessed it, and what we're making today is peach pie bars. And, you know, we can't have peaches when we're fighting type 2 and eating low carb. However, I have figured out a way to turn the apple pie filling that I make out of squash into a peach pie filling. And if you haven't seen the video for the apple pie filling, I'll put it either here or here. I'm not sure which side it'll end up on, but I'll put a link to that so you can see that. But we're going to go through that process today making the peach pie. So we're going to start off first because we've got to make a crust for the bottom of the bars. So we're going to do that first and get that in the oven. Then we'll cut away and we'll come back and we'll film the peach filling that's going to go on top of it. And then we'll come back when we've got it all put together and do a little taste test for you. So we're going to get started now. I've got 1 cup total of pecans and walnuts that I've chopped up with the little mini food processor. And if you can get a little look here, I've got them chopped, but I don't have them chopped like a flour or something. They're still pretty decent size, but you know, they're smaller than they would be coming out of the pack. I've got 1/2 cup of almond flour. I've got 1/4 cup of melted butter, 1/4 cup of monkfruit, and we're going to put just a pinch of salt in here. And then we're going to put it in my pan that I've already pre-greased and bake it in the oven at 350 for about 15 to 20 minutes. I have to keep an eye on it. And you're going to have to do that too because everybody's oven is different. But this is going to make a lovely crust bottom for our peach pie bars. So, and it's super simple. The 1/2 cup of almond flour that I've got in here is not sifted. And you know how I always tell y'all sift, sift, sift. You don't have to with this. And when you measure it out, you also want to make sure that you pack it down firmly. So you want to, you know, make sure that you've got enough almond flour in here to make these bars. And if you have any little lumps that are like, you know, really conspicuous lumps, you can just do what I'm doing and kind of knock them down a little bit with your spoon, but you do not have to sift for this. And then I'm just going to add the nut mixture in here, and we're going to put our monk fruit in. And then all we're going to do is add in a little bit of salt. And I don't measure this because I was raised in the South and I just don't measure salt. We just put it in. There's a joke that says, we just salt until our ancestors tell us to stop. So I just kind of, you know, put salt in there. If I would guess, if I had to guess for you guys, you're probably looking at a 1/4 to 1/2 of a teaspoon. But just a few shakes, you know, will do the trick too. And all we're doing with the salt is putting it in there to make sure that we add that little extra oomph to the sweetener, just like when you're baking a cake and stuff. And then we're just going to add our butter in and stir this up. And it's going to have like a little bit of a crumbly texture, and that's what we're looking for. And you just want to stir it up and make sure that you get all the dry almond flour that's in here. Make sure that it all gets incorporated and covered with the butter like everything else in the recipe. And then this is all you got to do. And clean fingers are your best tools in the kitchen. And that is what we're using here. So we're going to put the mixture in the bowl. And this is just an 8x8 baking dish. And you can use a 9x9, and it should work okay. But I've got an 8x8, so that's what we're using today. And then you just sort of mush this stuff down in the pan. And I'm trying to keep the calories and the carbs and everything low, so I'm not making this super thick, but it's plenty thick for your bars when you get them mushed down in the pan. So then you're just going to take your clean fingers and you're going to push down and mash it all together. Just mash, mash, mash. I sure have missed y'all. I miss being able to talk to y'all and see y'all and all of that. There goes my oven coming up to temperature. I think I told you the oven's supposed to be at 350, but if I didn't, the oven's supposed to be at 350. The oven tip just came up. Alright, so let me wash my hands off real quick here. And I'll be right back. These bars would be great for 4th of July. And I'm actually the next couple of weeks, I'm going to try for Thursday to make another recipe for you guys. But I've got 3 or 4 different recipes I want to give you for the 4th of July weekend, in case any of you are going to a picnic or having people over or whatever. So we're going to pop this baby in the oven. And like I said, the oven's on 350. And it needs to cook for 15 to 20 minutes. And I'm going to keep an eye on it, set my timer so I don't miss anything, because we don't want to burn anything up. And then when it gets through baking, we'll be back and we'll show you the rest of the process. Okay, y'all, so it's time to pull the base part of these bars out. And it takes about 20 minutes in my oven, but it may take a little bit longer or a little bit less in your oven. Just keep a look on it, and you're looking for that nice golden brown color. So we're going to get this, let it be cooling off, and then we're going to move over and film the peach pie filling part of it. So we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, y'all, we're back. We're getting ready to make the peach pie filling. And don't worry about the amounts. I'll have those down in the description for you. I'm just going to go over what we're using today. So we've got 6 cups of the yellow squash that's peeled and diced. And, you know, they're diced like that. They're not small or tiny or anything, but they're not huge. We've got some powdered monk fruit. I've got 6 tablespoons of butter here. We've got cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger. There's 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. And this is one of the secret ingredients that's going to make this taste like peach pie. And I bought 2 different kinds of, well, actually Jenny bought these for me when I asked her to. She got 2 different kinds of peach tea. And today I'm using the Celestial Seasonings Country Peach Passion. And the other time I made it is the Bigelow Perfect Peach. Both of them will work just fine. And that's what you're looking at here is the peach tea. Now let me tell you, when you get started with this, you're going to put almost a cup of water in your container or a cup or whatever, and you're going to put 6 of these tea bags in there. And I know it sounds like a lot, and it is, but you need that to help add the flavor. And so then you wait until it's completely cooled off, and once that happens, you get the tea bags out and you squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. You want to get every bit of that peach flavor out and into this really strong tea mixture, and you want it to look dark like this. So after that happens, you've got to heat this back up. I put mine in the microwave for about 40 seconds here. And the reason that we're doing that is because we've got an envelope of gelatin here that we're going to bloom into this peach tea. And that's going in with our squash and everything when we put it on the pan on the stove. So you just put this in your tea and stir it up. And you're waiting for it to, thicken up a little bit as it dissolves with the tea. And we're going to use the whole envelope there. And just stir it up like I'm doing here. And you don't have to worry if it's not perfect, and you don't have to worry if it turns into like a gelatinous glob in your bowl, because we're going to put it in with the squash and it's all going to melt anyway. But the main thing you want to do is melt the gelatin in the tea so that it also picks up the flavor of the tea. And then the other ingredient that we're going to use is this Loran peach flavoring. And I got this off of Amazon, and I'll put the link to it in the description. And this is really strong flavoring. The Loran flavorings are extra strong. They're not like regular extracts. And we're going to be putting a tablespoon of this in after it cooks on the stove, because we don't want to cook all the flavoring out. So we're going to wait until we take it off the stove, and then we're going to add the flavoring at the last part, and then put that over on top of the bar crust things that we made. So let me get everything moved over to the stove, and we'll be back in just a minute, and we'll get this peach pie going. Okay, y'all, so we're getting ready to make the peach pie filling. I've got 6 tablespoons of butter here, and you're just going to put that in your pan. And I've got powdered monk fruit that we're going to add in at the same time that we add the butter and everything. And we've got to melt the butter and the monk fruit in the pan before we start adding all the other stuff in. Y'all, this is going to be good. And I made it for Jenny before I got sick, and she really liked it. So that's always a good thing when Jenny gives me the thumbs up. So we're going to make it again today. My sister Karen's supposed to be coming over here from church, and she hadn't got here yet, so hopefully she'll get here soon. If the doorbell rings or something while we're filming, it's just Sister Karen. So let me get this butter and everything melted in here, and then we'll start adding the other stuff in. And I got my pan on medium heat, and when we get the squash and everything in, we're going to bring it up to a boil. And I usually put the heat up just a little above medium when I put the squash in. And then once it starts boiling, I bring the heat back down, and I'll let it boil for, it'll take anywhere from 20 minutes to 40 minutes, and it all depends on the texture of the squash. Has nothing to do with your heat on your stove or anything like that. It's got to do with how much water is in your squash. So I've made this before where it was done in 20 minutes. I've made it when it was ready in 30 minutes. And I've made it before where it took it 40 minutes. And what you're looking for is for your squash to get translucent. So the next thing I'm going to do is pop my squash in here. And like I said, this is 6 cups of squash. And if y'all are looking for a measurement, this was 5 medium squash in this particular batch. I've made it before with 4 large squash and still got 6 cups out of it. So the best thing is just to measure out 6 cups as you're going along, because that's what you need for this recipe. So I've got the squash in here. We're going to add our lemon juice. And then I'm going to put in all my little spices here. And like I said, I've got cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger going in, which are all the things we use for peach cobbler and peach pie. Get all this stuff out of here. And then I've got my gelatin doing its thing over here, and it's starting to get thick on the bottom and stuff, so it's going to be ready to put in here in just a second. And then you just stir everything up. And I'm going to put just a little sprinkle of salt in here as well. And again, that's just to help the sweetness come out in this, and it's just a little bit of salt. You can leave salt off, you can put more in, it's to taste. I usually just put a little bit in, just to, you know, that sweet and sour thing, sweet and salty thing, not sour, that works so well for so many flavors. Alright, So I've got gelatin that's thickening up on my spoon here, and I'm going to get all of that off because the gelatin is going to help thicken this up some. And again, that peach tea is carrying a lot of peach flavor with it. So we've got this in, and we're just going to let it come to a boil. And then, like I said, it's going to have to boil for anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes, and I'm looking for the squash to get translucent. So as soon as it's ready and I can show you what it's supposed to look like, then we'll be back. Okay, y'all, so the squash is just about done. I'm going to let Jeannie get a close-up shot for you guys because this is what you're looking for. You're looking for your squash to get that translucence. And this is still looks a little runny, and it will be until it cools down a little bit. But we're going to take it off the heat, and we're going to let it cool off. And I usually let it cool off for about 15 or 20 minutes. And then when we come back, we'll put the peach filling, and I still have to add the flavoring. That's the last step that we do here. And it's 1 tablespoon of this Loran for that whole pot, and it's going to be plenty. And then we're going to put that over our cookie bottom here, and when it's done, we'll put it in the refrigerator, and then we'll be doing a taste test. Okay, y'all, so everything's cooled down. We are going to put the peach pie filling, and I didn't film it for you guys, but I did put a tablespoon of the Loran peach flavoring in here after I took it off the heat. And so it's cooled off enough now that we're going to pour it onto the cookie base, which is completely cool now. And we're going to let this smell like peach, Jenny.
It smells delicious.
Oh man, it does smell peachy, peachy, peachy. Okay, and then all you're going to do is spread your filling over your bars here and even it out everywhere. And then we're going to put it in the refrigerator for a half an hour to an hour and let it cool off and get a little bit firm. And then you can serve this right out of the refrigerator, or you can cut a piece of it and leave it at room temperature until the bottom part gets a little bit soft again. I like it both ways, so it's just personal preference. But we're going to put this in, and we'll be back in a little while for a taste test. Okay, y'all, so it's been sitting in the refrigerator, and it's set up now. And this recipe makes 9 bars. You could cut it into 12 if you wanted to, you know, get a few more bars out of it. But I think 9 bars makes a nice serving of this. So I cut it into 9 pieces when I make it. And it's very nice because the bottom part is like this kind of crunchy, chewy cookie bottom. I will say that if you sit it out at room temperature, it will get a little bit softer, and Jenny actually prefers it that way. I kind of like it right out of the refrigerator, but that's just me, and we're all different. So you do you, boo-boo. But I'm trying to see if I can get a piece out of here that's going to be pretty, because most of the time the first piece isn't so pretty. But I'm going to try. We're going to give it a shot here and see if I can have success. If not, it's still going to taste good. So let me go in here in the middle and see if I can get a middle piece out. Oh, I think it is. Yes, I think it is. Very good. So there is our peach pie bar. And we're going to do a little taste test here. I was trying to get Jenny to do a taste test for y'all today, but she don't want to get on camera today. So I'm going to do it and just let her taste it off camera. So let me give it a shot here and see. And y'all can see the cookie bottom of it. And it's got that nice crust on the bottom, and then the top, it really does taste like peaches, y'all. So here we go. Yes. Oh my goodness, y'all. This is it. If you love peaches, I really think you're going to love this. And like I say, the one component that I had to order off Amazon, the Loran flavoring, it is really good, and I think that you guys will be amazed when you make this how much like peaches this tastes. So I hope you'll give it a try. Let me know if you guys try it, and let me know what you think about it. It's so good to see you guys again. I love y'all, and I will talk to you soon. I hope you have a great week. Love you guys. Bye.